Welcome back to Badass One-on-One Offers. We are still in Module 2, talking about how to map out your sales process for your one-on-one offers. And in this lesson, we are going to wrap up our discussion of the 4 phases of the sales process by talking about the proposal and the contract phase. As a reminder, these are the 4 phases of your sales process: inquiry, discovery, proposal, and contract. And we're just going to combine these last 2 phases together, proposal and contract, because these 2 phases can often be combined into a single step, and in a lot of cases people choose to do that. They handle the proposal and the contract all at once, and we can talk about what that looks like. But let's talk about the proposal phase first. And really the purpose of the proposal phase is to help the client get to a decision point. You've had a call with them, you've determined that you would be a good fit to work together, and sending that proposal is really meant to provide them with enough information and enough specifics to be able to say yes or no. And before we get too far, we are going to have a whole module in this course about how to write a proposal. So please don't worry, we will come back to this and talk about it in detail. But generally speaking, there are 3 methods of creating a proposal. We've talked about standardized proposals. We've talked about customized proposals that are really tailored to the needs and desires of each client. And then last, there is spec work. So on rare occasions, a client might ask you to do work on spec. And what that means is you actually do some of the work before you are formally hired so that they can see the quality of your work and see a little, kind of like a sample before they buy the entire thing. This isn't typical, but it does happen and it can be appropriate in certain situations. So I wanted to address it here. So that's the proposal phase. Let's talk about the contract phase. The purpose of the contract phase is to formally close the sale. So once they say, yes, I accept your proposal, the contract makes it official. And if you need a contract for your one-on-one work, there is this guy I know named Bobby Klink, and you should check out his legal templates for business owners. That happens to be what I use for my clients, is his legal templates. So you should check those out. But in general, delivering an electronic contract is fairly straightforward, and you'll also want to collect the first payment or some kind of deposit as well, which leads me to a very important reminder, which is never, ever, ever start working for anyone without collecting some kind of payment in advance, whether it's a deposit or an initial payment or whatever you want to call it. Collect some money up front, and we will talk more about why that's important in a little bit. So I've walked through the 4 phases of the sales process, but it is really important to understand that every business is going to apply these 4 phases a little bit differently. So before we wrap up, I wanted to provide some examples of how different kinds of businesses could approach their sales process. And the first example I want to share is, let's say you are a health coach. And as a health coach, you have a form on your website that collects some basic information from your prospective clients. And then once you get that information from them, you reach out to schedule a video call where you talk more in depth about their needs and about your services. And then after that video call, you follow up by sending a standardized proposal and contract right after that call. This is a very, very common approach, a very effective approach for selling coaching services. But let's say what you do is a little bit more specialized. You're working with a little bit larger clients, and you're going to need a little bit more formality in your sales process. Let's say you're a tech consultant, for example. Your inquiry phase might look like a form on your website, but followed up by a phone call from you to verify the information that they shared from you and verify that they're going to be a qualified client for you to take to the next step of discovery. And your discovery phase is actually a paid consultation where the client pays you to come in and assess their situation and make some recommendations as to what they should do next, either with or without your help. But if they want your help, you go ahead and send a proposal for what it would look like for you to work with them on executing the recommendations that you made. So you send a customized proposal after the paid consult to say, this is what it would look like to work with me. And then if they accept that proposal, you'll then send a contract and an invoice. I wanted to provide this example to just show you what it can look like if you do work with larger clients, or your engagements are more in depth or more technical or more specialized. specialized, it might be appropriate for you to have a little bit of a longer, more formal sales process. The last example is, let's say you're an online business manager and you don't necessarily feel like you need an inquiry form. Clients just go directly to your website and sign up for a call with you where you talk about their needs. You follow up with a custom proposal, and then you send a contract and invoice when they accept that proposal. Hopefully this gives you the sense that there are a lot of different ways to do this, and you just have to decide what is going to be best for you. And to help you decide what's going to be best for you, we're going to talk in the next lesson about tips for a successful sales process. I'll see you in the next lesson.